What is up, everyone? It is Monday. I'm very excited to host this first ever Marvel Thor trailer recap podcast. Surprise. Not true. We're still talking Star Wars, I guess. We got some good times to talk about. We're talking celebration prep. We're very excited for May. We got the full crew here. We got a little bit of news, a little Utini stuff to send your way. But before we get to all that, by the power of the mighty Thor, Wes Portrait! Welcome to the Living Force, the Utini Network podcast. Tonight, all out Star Wars celebration. I'm one of your hosts, Eric Eilerson, and joining me to talk about all of the prep, both in Anaheim and at home, is the full crew. Starting off with the man who's got a test tomorrow, so everyone be a little quiet, make sure he gets his rest, Dr. Corey Helton.
That's right. Hello, everyone. It is Monday, April 18th. Tomorrow is the big day. I take my family medicine board exam. Charles is already here, so he doesn't, he already took his. He's already here. What the hell am I saying? Charles already took his.
I am also here.
That's right. So he, he doesn't get the whole show experience, but, everybody pray to your gods and all of those things for me tomorrow. And, it's going to be fine. I'm not nervous.
No,
Are you nervous?
You're fine. Everything's fine here. How are you? All of our audio listeners, Guess what? You'll know how Corey did. So just feel the vibe. Send those retroactive prayers.
We'll see. I guess I'll probably tweet about it. So,
Oh, you better. But you know who's going to tweet before you? Because I want to know if he's board certified. Dr. Charles Hankel.
I don't know about board certified, but I'm blurred certified because my camera, I don't know what's going on tonight, guys. I apologize to our audio listeners. Hopefully I don't sound blurry. I promise to come with all my usual fire. I'm still on point mentally. This is just technology.
Charles's camera is still intoxicated from watching Revenge of the Sith.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
That Merlot hit hard, apparently.
Well, I'll tell you what, Charles, now that you're blurry, you finally evened out to be as attractive as the other three of us, which is very helpful for my ego. But of course, nothing dampens down my ego like staring into the glittering sun that is the presence of Wes Jenkins.
Wow, that's really hard to to follow up. But guess what? I finished another Star Wars audiobook.
Wes!
No way.
This morning.
Holy smokes.
This morning,
What did you finish?
I finished Star Wars The Old Republic Deceived. And
Holy
wouldn't you
smokes,
know,
dude.
Wouldn't you know, it doesn't follow Revan whatsoever.
No.
Not at all.
Whatsoever. It's
Not at all.
entirely
Not
different
even a
book.
little.
Entirely different book.
It's a good book, though.
But it was super good. I was glad that I listened to it. So next one up is Total Annihilation. So
I don't think that's what it's called, is it? I think it's just called Annihilation.
it's called like Fatal. No, Annihilation's the
called-
last one.
Total
Like Fatal Attraction
Fatal-
or something like that.
Cool.
Fatal
Total
Attraction!
Annihilation. What? I think it's like the off-brand. You buy it off of like Alibaba or something, Wes.
Have you spell checked
Fatal
Annihilation?
Alliance, you idiots! How did you not know that?
Have you seen? You ever seen those like Russian ripoffs of films where the subtitles
yeah.
are all like wrong because it's been translated like 4 times? That's what the book is going to be like.
I would love Star Wars The Old Republic Fatal Attraction, though. That would just be... Let's get on that. If we're not going to read those, we might as well talk about some other books and some other activities. And if you're watching or listening to this, hello, welcome, all our friends in the chat tonight. Hope you're doing well. Remember, as always, to like the video, like the show. If you're listening to us on audio, hi, I hope you've had a good week. If you haven't rated us on your podcatcher of choice, make sure to do that. A couple little things I want to get into before our Star Wars celebration. I got to figure out a new word for that by the end of this show. Guess what, guys? I built another Lego because life is really hard. And I built the Razor Crest this week. And I got to say, I was prepped by a lot of folks that I know in the Lego sphere. I have a lot of friends that build Lego. This is a great build, and it is. If you have not built the Razor Crest and you want to, guys, look at this. It has compartments that open up
Wow.
which is rad. And there's like little carbonite things you can take out of it.
Hold it
I'm
up so we
really
can see the size of it compared to your
Hold on.
face. Oh, it's a two-hander.
I'm always afraid of doing this. Bam, baby, look at that.
You should
Size.
you should like just live on the show, pick it up and smash it and then rebuild it
Dude,
because it's canon.
I would
That's
never.
canon. It's what happens.
I would never wish that upon you,
cannot
Eric.
do
But
it.
if you happen to drop it live on the show, it would probably be my favorite thing ever.
Well, this just fell off the back here, so I'll put that back on.
I think
That
I can do
being
a
said-
clickbait title for that. Just like
I'm gonna
Star
Venmo
Wars
Charlie
fan
$50 to come
smashes
and
Razor Crest.
yeah.
No, you Venmo me $130 so I can immediately buy another one.
No. I'm gonna Venmo Charlie and she's gonna come in live during the show and just like smash the shit out of it.
God.
I hate these
would be
damn Legos.
horrific. But for all you that are worried, yes, I have already bought a mount. It will go right here behind me on the wall. That little empty space, that's where it'll be for all time. So that was very fun. Another couple things announcement-wise. We want to wish a Utini Living Force combined happy birthday to the one, the only, the man who knows what he did, Kevin Scott. It's Kevin Scott's birthday, y'all. And I hope
Kevin
it's
Scott's
wonderful.
birthday.
Yeah.
What is he like? 32, 34, something like
Exactly,
that?
something ancient like that, right? No, but for real, Kevin, hope you had a great day. I think it's already over, probably, right, at this point in the UK.
I still
Hope you had a lovely birthday, and we love you, and you're awesome.
Yeah, hopefully you got your award for your birthday.
That's never happening.
It's gonna
Or
happen.
it'll arrive when you're
Yeah.
at Star Wars Celebration, Kevin, and then they'll be like, oh, it's not here, and then they'll send it back.
We put it in the trash, directly into the trash at this point.
Absolutely. Well, happy birthday, man. Hope you had a great one. I also hope that y'all are ready to have a great week coming up May 16th to 22nd, because, guys, what is happening in the Utini
Kenobi
Podcast Network
Week.
space? Kenobi Week! Charles, what's Kenobi Week?
Well, Kenobi Week is basically a cross show super event for all of our Utini podcasts. Essentially,
Super
Is that
event.
fair?
Yeah.
I like the
Yeah.
term super event. I'm not reading from the outline. I'm just kind of making this up as I go. But as you can see from this graphic here, Kenobi Week, we're basically across all of our shows going to be featuring the one, the only Obi-Wan Kenobi in one way or another. We all have our special ways that we're going to do that, and we may announce those in more detail, I guess, down the road. But it's in celebration for the Disney Plus series, of course. So we're all going to try to get ourselves geared up, get all you guys geared up so that we're all on the same page and ready to just relish in the glory of the greatest Jedi of all time.
That's right.
Absolutely.
You're welcome for that.
It's gonna be fun.
Yeah.
Crossover event. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun.
Yeah.
I can't wait
And
to release more information about that as we go forward.
It's going to be great. And of course, if you don't watch all of our shows, what better time to jump in for a full week of all of these great shows than when you know it's all going to be about one singular topic. We got, your canon look from us, your Legends look from Legends Look Back, your comics look from the Cosmic Force, and the Star Wars Archives are releasing a show on Saturday or Sunday of that weekend. That's all about Kenobi because, come on, like Charles said, he's one of the greatest Jedi ever made. He does hit all these different mediums, so we cannot wait for that. Keep your eyes peeled for more info down the road. Now we want to give a big thank you to our Patreon community. As always, we love y'all. We think you're great. We also have some new patrons we want to say thank you to, including Liz Hendrick, who became a new monthly patron, Adrian, who changed to an annual patron, and Earl Q, who joined our Jedi High Council this week. So thank you all so much for your support. I hope you are all enjoying the Revenge of the Sith commentary. We did it, guys! We recorded it!
We did. It was fun. We had a good time.
Oh my gosh, we did. And I had a horrible next day, but it was very worth it.
Eric was very hungover, apparently.
Yes, I was. But oh my God, what a great time watching the film together. And we released in 2 different versions, as we always do. A version that you can just listen to straight up like an audio podcast. So you can listen to it at work. You can watch it with the film if you want. And then there's another version we released on the Patreon feed that has like the film playing lowly in the background. So you can, if you've seen it a bunch of times, like I'm guessing you have, you're listening to or watching a Star Wars book podcast, you can just kind of remember what it looks like as we talk about it. So I hope you all enjoy it. I hope you're all ready for our next Patreon goal at $900, which is our Utini Network Multiverse event, where we're all switching shows. And then, of course, our Asheville documentary, which releases at the next goal. But overall, thank you all for your patience. Hope you enjoy that. More stuff to come down the way. Alrighty, Wes, hit it with that Star Wars Weekly Roundup.
It's the Star Wars Weekly Roundup.
All right, a couple things this week that came out in the Star Wars world. Number one, and probably the most important to us, y'all, the High Republic show dropped and brought a rather decent amount of info for some upcoming stuff in the High Republic. First of all, they did a recap of the end of Phase 1. So if either you read everything and it's been a hot minute, or, I don't know, you just like to keep up with the recaps, you don't want to read all the comics, or you only read comics and don't read the books, make sure you check that out. They do a nice little animated version of what happened near the end of Phase 1. We also get interviews with the new authors, including Zariah Cordova, Tessa Gratton, and our buddy George Mann. We're all in there talking about their Phase 2 projects. And, most impressively, I will say, we got a cover reveal for freaking Trail of Deceit, and oh my gosh, it's gorgeous. I love this cover. Wes, can we throw that up so people can look at the glory that is this Trail of Deceit cover, this YA novel for Phase 2? My goodness! It's pretty.
They put a lot of work into that, layers and layers on there.
Yeah, it looks
yeah.
sick.
The actual
looks like it could
starscape
be-
taking up the whole book cover. That's insane.
Yeah, looks good. This looks like Alderaan too, by the way. Like with all the mountains and stuff.
it does,
Straight up
yeah.
looks like Alderaan. Also, we got to talk about this blue logo. I'm assuming this is going to be the Phase 2 color. It's like a really rich royal blue if you haven't seen the picture. I kind of dig it. I didn't love it at first, but I kind of dig it.
Yeah, I really love it, and I think you're absolutely spot on, Corey. Obviously, all the banners in Phase 1 were gold. Now we're going blue. I'm calling it right here and now, April 18th live. I think Phase 3 is going to be red.
I like
we'll
that.
see.
like
But
that.
I love the combination of it. There's a Pantoran Jedi on the cover. There's a oh my gosh, Marchion Rose people. Tell me in the chat. I'm forgetting because of an E. But she's on the right. There's another awesome character in the middle. And beyond this, what I thought was very interesting, Corey Brinkley Illustration, who is the artist that created this cover, posted a bunch of tweets on the process of creating it and some unused art, which I feel like we very rarely see in official channels. And I thought we could scroll through here a little bit just to kind of see some of the evolutions this took. This one I thought was striking and kind of like religious imagery.
It looks like the Statue of Liberty.
Yeah. Especially the way that looks like a crown. and
Right.
Yeah.
wings. Yeah.
Looks like the like the Halo thing. Yeah, looks cool.
Yeah,
Little
whole
planet
Halo with the little
up there in
planet.
the
Yeah.
top too. Yeah, like
There's a trail going up to her with the flowers, like that kind of like parts in the middle there.
Ooh, the Trail of Deceit, if you will.
Path of Deceit. Okay.
Dang it.
Path of Deceit, but yes.
Trail
you
Shadow,
cannot
that's
tell
what I
me.
meant.
With
You cannot
the
tell
moon in
me
the
that
far
that's
left.
not a. You cannot tell me that's not a Cocoa Puff in the sky right there.
A moldy Cocoa Puff.
100% what that is.
All right, I cannot see that. Absolutely right. Here's another one that they put up, and I know they mentioned the ship. I forgot what kind of ship it is, but there's a ship in the background there, and they put a little screenshot of it. And I love seeing any kind of ships we get in this era because obviously, like the vectors and the long beams and things were all cool. I do think it's a good idea they didn't go with that because it does seem kind of incongruous with the rest of the cover here.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does. It looks like the what's the thing called from Rogue One? What's that ship called?
The U-wing.
U-wing. It looks like a U-wing.
Oh yeah, I can see
straight up.
that.
Yeah.
I can see that a little bit. But again, I love the flower motif. A lot more green in this one than the final product.
And
Absolutely. And then, well, I spoke too soon. This is the greenest thing I've ever seen.
is
I like
Auger.
this one.
No, I do too.
I like this one. That ship is still there, but it's way less noticeable. But I like
It still looks odd though
kind
in
of green
the sky. I'm
hues.
glad it's not there.
Yeah. Well, and we know based on the description of this book, there's a love story
Hate it.
that's involving a Padawan. And it looks like the Padawan on the left in this one was male, and in the final cover, it is turned to a female Padawan. So that'll be interesting to see as far as the story goes.
I noticed the
I always,
lightsaber on the first one.
yeah, this one's blue, and I think in the final it's yellow.
So
I wanna say I think the next one is
click
just-
back in a second. But
Yeah, there we go. That's
There
the
we go.
final textless version. Yeah, it's a yellow saber now with the Pantoran. But I'm always down for a good Jedi love story. I mean, come on, Forbidden Passion. What are you gonna do? I hope we get a lot more of these covers soon. They did tease near the end of the High Republic show that there's a lot of stuff. No surprise here, coming at Celebration. So,
how about that?
I mean, I feel like we got to get the rest of the Wave 1 Phase 2 covers at Celebration, right?
I would hope so.
That'd be weird if they didn't. I don't know. I'm going to get my hopes up. I'm not going to manage my expectations. I'm going to say that panel stinks if they don't release stuff. I will make YouTube videos. I will go on rants. We'll get clicks.
Don't say that.
That's not true. It's impossible. But I'm excited for these. It looks great. I'm so glad we got that. Again, go check out the High Republic show for those covers and all the other stuff that they got, all those interviews that they had. And if you're looking to get some books that are a little more recent, you can head over to UT.com to the release schedule and get those pre-orders in for Star Wars Brotherhood, which just arrived physically today. I'm so glad I got the copy. I'm about halfway through it on the digital version for our review, and I always love finishing the book in the physical pages. I just love it way more, so I'm very excited. Make sure to get that pre-order in. It's coming May 10th. Shadow of the Sith is coming June 28th, and Padawan is coming July 26th. And I mean, come on. Pre-order all Phase 2 right now, too. Why not? You know you want to. You know you want to. It's all right. Let go. Let go. All right, we are going to... That's not my best work, guys. I can admit that. I can be real with myself.
I wasn't going to say anything. Let's just blow right on past that.
Not my best work. No. We have to take ownership. I'm going to take this ad break to think about how to do a show well, and then when we come back, I'll be good at my job again. We'll talk more Star Wars Celebration. See you in a minute.
It's the best back cover since Star Wars Episode 1 hardcover novelization. The one with young Anakin, because on the back, just to remind y'all, is a full headshot of Watto.
It's so big.
I think I brought this up on one of the earliest episodes of the Living Force ever, and I thought I'd bring it back.
Oh my God, yeah.
Series and all of Legends. What do you guys think? Could it be the X-Wing series? Might just be the most romance-intensive series ever. And we're not just talking about the scene where Corran Horn describes his love affair with an otter. I mean, a Salonian that he hooked up with her and then he broke out in chives.
Yeah, not chives.
Not chives. What's it called? The bumps?
Hives, dude. Hives.
Chives go on your potato.
I'm hearing you say the same thing.
Chives, what you put on the under potato. No C. Hives.
Hives.
Not chives.
What did I say?
Chives.
It's not a very common story to approach. Yeah, again, drawing the complex family tree of Jango to clone identical son to clone all identical millions of sons, but they're a generation older. So then the son is kind of all Jango's equal, but then Boba is a generation younger, but then that clone's son is Boba's age, but then is Boba his dad or his nephew or his uncle or his cousin? It's like
And we are back. Hello, everyone. Tonight, we are talking about Star Wars Celebration Prep. Now, this is not necessarily about our most excited panels and what we're doing. We are going to do a celebration show about that the week before when everything is announced. We're going to help you kind of plot out your weekend. However, tonight's show is more so for your prep about, what should I do before I leave? What should I think about? What should I be prepared for? All that stuff. That being said, we are going to break our rule right before we start. Because there is one panel we do have to tell you have to go to. Is it about The Mandalorian? It is not. Is it about The Bad Batch? No. Come on. It's not about any of that stuff. It's about Star Wars books. Is it by Del Rey? Also, it is not. This panel is Stutini's first ever Star Wars Celebration panel. And Corey, we got some news about it today.
Yes, we did. We got panel times. We got panel times. Yes, we got the official shout out today, official email from the organizers of Star Wars Celebration. 10:30 on Saturday. Utini is hosting the first panel ever. We're talking about the past, present, and future of Star Wars books and comics. Yeah, it's gonna be rad. I'm really excited they put us on Saturday, man. That's like the busiest day. It's like a really big deal. And 10:30 might be the first panel slot, actually. So I think those are both good things. I think those are both good things. That's sick.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, you're all invited. We want to see you. I'm just gonna give it's 10:30 a.m. on Saturday at Star Wars Celebration. Like this is so cool. It will still be cool even after the panel is over. I'm still freaking out that it's happening. But like Corey said, there's going to be 4 of us on the panel. We are going to be walking you through basically what we do on this show all the time, what we do on the site, what we do as a community. And if you have friends that have not read any Star Wars books, please bring them along. If you have friends that have read quite a lot of Star Wars books, bring them along. We are going to be just kind of basking in the love of Star Wars books and everything they've done for us at 10:30 at that panel. And yes, Jacob, as you said in the chat, you can go to that panel at 10:30 a.m. on Saturday morning, and then you come to the Utini party Saturday night. We will bookend your Saturday at Celebration, and I'm sure nothing else bigger than that will happen on Saturday at Star Wars Celebration. I'm pretty sure that's going to be it. No other big announcements usually happen on Saturday.
Nope, nothing. It's
Nothing.
gonna be a slow day.
It's gonna sell out.
Yeah.
It's gonna sell out.
I know. The only thing that I'm hoping for is that that's not the first like major panel time. I don't think it is, right? Like,
Well,
did they
we'll find
release
out.
times? I don't think they do the huge one first thing in the morning. They might, but I don't know.
They might.
I guess we'll see.
And you know what? If you go there, I'll say right now, that's okay. We get it. Please come to
yeah,
our panel,
that's
but
fine.
don't miss out on the Mandalorian. It's okay.
Yeah, listen, the there's like a lottery system and stuff usually. So like, if you're not doing that, come to ours. So
Absolutely. So other than that panel, though, tonight is all about ideas, about how to mentally and physically prepare for Celebration. So guys, real quick, just to kind of tell you where we're coming from, Corey, you're the only one of us that's been to a Star Wars Celebration. Is that right?
Yes, that is correct. I went in 2019. That's right. It was 19, right? Yeah, 2009.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was 19. 19 in Chicago was our last celebration before Rise of Skywalker. I went to that one. It was the first celebration I've been to. It was a religious experience, and I'm really excited to go again and for you guys to get some of your first celebration experience yourself. So,
Yes. I cannot wait. And the last thing I want to do when I'm there is worry about what I did and didn't bring. So let's go through 2 main things: what to pack and what to do. So let's start off, Corey. I want you to talk about bags with the folks. Why are they going to need to bring a bag? What are some good options to bring? Like, let's really go through this methodically.
What's
Listen.
in style? This
How do
in
you
style?
look cool?
this year on the Star Wars Celebration panel, the key look is going to be this. Yeah, no, seriously. I was like really anxious about this the last time that I went to, and like I've got some stuff wrong, and like it was a little annoying because I mean, the reality is you have to fly to the location unless you just happen to live outside of Anaheim. You have to fly to the location. You're staying in a hotel. You got to get all your stuff there, first of all. And then you walk around the floor like a celebration all day long, basically. And I'm not sure if this is just like a me problem, but like I was really anxious about how I was gonna carry everything around, and like I was making sure I had a comfortable backpack, and I wanted to have a chair, and we brought chairs, and we couldn't take them in, and it was just a mess, right? So like I want to give some like just generic advice about kind of the go-to things that you should have at Celebration. So as far as bags go, I think the best advice is don't necessarily go for something super stylish like a nice Star Wars messenger bag or something like that. You need to, if you're going to be carrying stuff, which you are, there's lots of giveaways and posters and pins and all kinds of stuff. You got to get you like a double strapped, like a real backpack, right? Like a normal
the
backpack.
messenger bag thing is really the key. Your one shoulder, even if you swap shoulders,
it'll ruin you, man.
You can't one strap it. You can't be like Channing Tatum in 21 Jump Street. You got to two strap it.
Yeah,
really help
exactly.
those back pains out.
Thought you might
bonus
say
points
Luke
if it's
carrying Yoda, but yeah.
Yeah, okay, there you
That's
go.
better.
There you go. Bonus points if it's got the chest strap or a waist strap on it too. Like seriously, because you end up carrying food and water bottle, and it gets heavy, and
No, that's too much.
it sucks, man. It sucks. Yeah.
If I see somebody rocking around with a waist strap, I will unbuckle that for them.
Okay, listen, I'm not talking.
That's hot, Wes.
I'm not talking about a hiking backpack, Wes. Like, they're not
That's what it
carrying
sounded like to me.
a full fillet deer on their back with like a metal frame. Okay, that's not what it is. Like, it's they do make small backpacks with waist things on them. So
Yeah.
Fanny pack.
And I will say
Yeah.
a key thing about bags too is make sure whenever you're bringing stuff, do check the Celebration website, because as far as things that are allowed in and out, the last thing you want to do is to bring a thing that's not allowed in the venue. They usually have specific things like that. And if, like Corey's saying, you want to get an actually great quality backpack and it's not licensed or whatever that is, you can always accessorize it. If you got pins, put a bunch of pins in the backpack. People do that at Celebration all the time. Accessorize that, make it your own in a cool way. But make sure, again, you're comfy with that. Wes, I want you to take the next thing, because we got to have stuff to put in that backpack, which is some things like stuff we want to bring to be autographed. So what kind of stuff should people bring in that case?
Well,
and why?
So if you are going to see, well, specifically authors, I think their autographs are a tad bit cheaper than the people who are in the movies. I'm thinking.
A smidgen.
But you might want to bring a hardcover book or bring your paperback books for them to get signed. And also, there may be an option for them to put a note in there, not just for them to sign it. But if you pay for just the autograph itself, and you can ask them, you'd be like, can you put May the Force be with you on there? And they'll do that. I mean, most of the time they will do that, and you don't have to pay extra for it. But anyways, so like posters that you can get at Celebration on the floor, they hand out. You can get posters signed or comics, and you can also bring in, like, say, pictures from them, like picture stills from the movies. That would be something else, but most of that is
usually they'll sign whatever you want.
Right. So most of that's going to cost some money. I looked at, so the one I'm doing is
You're Carl Weathers, right?
Yeah, Carl Weathers. When I purchased the autograph, it said flat items only. There were some autograph people who are giving autographs will have stipulations to what they sign. So it's not going to. It depends on if they were in a certain movie that they don't want to sign stuff on or whatever. But you need to read the information on the autograph that you purchased to make sure the thing that you're bringing in to get autographed is the thing that can be signed. Because it's terrible if you show up with, say, like a Chicago Bears football for Carl Weathers. He's like, I don't sign those things. And you're like, it took me. I had to like leave a pair of shoes behind to stuff this football into my bag.
Yeah.
And you got to keep it.
Yeah.
Tyler makes a great point in the chat too. Bring your own markers and multiple ones if you'd like, because even if you're if you're not at the autograph table, like Corey, when you were at Celebration, famously you said to us in our chat way back when, you ran into Timothy Zahn just in the middle of the floor.
I did.
And there might be times where you run into people. Even if they're at their booths and just chatting and they don't usually sign stuff, there may be people that are like, oh my gosh, I respect you and your work or what you do. I'd like you to sign something or write something. Carry those on you. You know, make sure you're ready, because the last thing you want is to not have that around when you need it.
And if you're purchasing like an 8x10 or maybe even a 16 by 20, you can get a protector, like a plastic protector that you can put into your luggage. That way it doesn't get wrinkled or smashed on, like when you're trying to pack that away to go home, or or you
I will say too, at 2019 Celebration, authors it was scheduled where they were like going to be doing signings and stuff. And I don't think it was written in like the guidebook or whatever. I don't think there were like times posted. There may have been, I don't remember, but there are like posters and stuff around. You can say it's like Claudia Gray is signing at this table at booth 141 in the fan section at 2:00 or whatever. And they were free. They didn't charge for their signings and stuff like that. You definitely have to book like the autographs and things like that ahead of time. And all that information is being revealed already. So those emails that Star Wars is sending out, let's say I have to book those autographs. But most things like that are a little lower key are free to get signed usually.
Now they may do if you have great Jacob put in the chat, if there's comics that are signed and graded, so that's a very specific comics exclusive thing. I have seen some artists and writers and stuff will charge for that because they know you're doing that for evaluation. You know you're doing that because you probably want to sell it someday. Whatever their prices are, just the etiquette, just don't ask them if that's really how much it costs. It's an awkward thing. We assume you wouldn't, but if they're doing this, it's for a business. It's great stuff. make sure you're bringing that stuff. Make sure, yes, Tony, if you're bringing things like posters, poster tubes, remember, anything you're getting signed, you're carrying around for the rest of the day unless your hotel is like attached.
Right. Make
Now,
sure it's protected.
yes, because you don't want that rubbing off. Charles, I know you're not going to be there with us, but you are a person who is very familiar with long shifts of moving around, of having to be comfortable, which is why I'm giving you this next one, clothes and shoes. Well, if you're a cosplayer, you already got this figured out. We can't wait to see you. We will be respectful. I want all the pictures. But if you're not a cosplayer, Charles, what recommendations do you have for folks that need to walk around a convention center for 4 days straight after, for 2.5 years, maybe we've all been stuck inside, not walking as much?
Yeah. So I think number one is you got to bring your best Star Wars apparel, right?
Yes.
Whether that's your friend of the show, Utini t-shirt, it doesn't have to be.
Or your other Utini t-shirt.
Or your other one. No, just you wanna bring some of your favorite stuff, right? Maybe leave behind that Chewbacca onesie. I mean, you could do it, but it's probably going to get pretty hot. I imagine Celebration is much like a overpacked like sardine can / rave. I don't know though. I've never been there. So you want to be repping, your shows. It can help you connect with people, right? Like if you see someone else wearing a show for a podcast you listen to, or one of your favorite things in the High Republic or this or that, it's a pretty cool talking point. And everyone that's there, contrary to what we're maybe used to out in the real world, is a huge Star Wars fan. You could walk up to anybody and start talking to them because you already have something huge in common with them. You're all there for the same reason. So consider kind of repping some of your favorite people. It's a nice way to connect. Probably though, more important than that, I would argue this is maybe the most important advice on this entire outline. And it's not just because I'm saying it, but it's comfortable shoes, guys. It's comfortable shoes. Leave the stilettos at home, unless it's part of your cosplay, in which case, all power to you. Guys, there's a pretty well-known lack of seating in Celebration in general, in convention centers in general. So your feet are going to be well worked by the end of the day. You're going to be on them all day. Okay.
Yeah.
So wear comfortable shoes. The shoes are not where you're making a statement, at least with your dress. Plus, think about it. People are probably gonna sometimes step on your shoes. You know what I mean? Like it's busy in there. There's a lot of traffic.
Yeah.
You stepped on my icy whites, Charles. You see the smudge.
You're gonna get flat tired at one point or another. So that's something to keep in mind as well. I don't think nothing else from the clothes department is important. Is it ever cold? Tell me this. Is it ever cold? Like, should you layer, Corey? Because
Indoors?
if you take a layer off, then you're carrying that too.
And at Celebration Chicago, it snowed while we were standing outside trying to get into the Clone Wars panel.
Yeah, Chicago, yes. Anaheim, California in May?
Not so much.
Yes.
Probably not.
Probably not.
If it snows, we got bigger issues than if you brought a hoodie because the end of the world has started.
So one thing, if you don't want to pay for an extra bag to be brought on, because a lot of times people will bring an empty suitcase if you're planning on purchasing a lot of things.
Right.
So one thing you could do is you could just wear all your clothes and just bring the one empty suitcase, and then you could stuff it up, and then on the way back, wear all your clothes again, much like Joey Tribbiani from Friends.
Very good. Very good.
Good job, Wes. You fit it in. All right, so that's a lot of packing. And like Wes said, check your airline. And if you are realistically going to want to bring at least a checked bag. If you have some stuff in there, great. Make sure your poster tubes fit in your bag when you buy it, just in case, or you can return it for a smaller one. Make sure you have space for things you're going to buy. Overestimate, and if you save space, awesome. But just the last thing you want is to panic shipping stuff out of California after you haven't slept in 4 days.
Yeah, for real.
Now, Corey, you got a list of Corey's underrated items, which I very much enjoy.
Yeah,
Let's lightning around these before we tell people what they're going to actually do at this dang thing.
Yeah, for sure. And I wanted to kind of go off the back end of that too, Eric, because I don't know, this is like kind of general travel advice. Like, make sure you take a carry-on bag. If this is your first, a lot of young folks go to Celebration. This is like their first major con they've ever been to, right? Like if this is your first trip, like, flying's a big deal, you're nervous about all that, make sure you take a carry-on bag, right? And put like put like the bare essentials in your carry-on bag. Like, please God, do that. Put like 3 or 4 Star Wars t-shirts, enough underwear, put all that stuff in your carry-on bag just in case they lose your check bag. Like, that happens all the time. And you're on a tight schedule when you're at Celebration, so like they're not going to find your bag while you're at Celebration. So make sure you put all that stuff in your carry-on bag, because if that gets lost, it's going to be a disaster.
Yeah. And as Jacob said, lightsabers are an acceptable carry-on via the FAA, which is a real thing.
There's a section. There's a section on the FAA website about that. Yeah. TSA.
So if you're bringing your saber, for a lot of times they do lightsaber meetups like at Disneyland. There's probably going to be one at the Star Wars After Dark on Friday night. Bring your lightsaber. You can carry it with you on the airplane. And I guarantee you, if you are flying to Anaheim, California or SNA that week, you are not going to be the only lightsaber on your flight.
Yeah,
I think
that's
just
for sure.
don't worry about it.
That's for sure. Anyway, underrated item. So for my first trip taught me this, and because you see other people that have obviously been doing this for a while, like while you're walking around, and they have the system figured out. So here's my advice for someone who has been to Celebration one time before. Bring extra socks and underwear in your bag. Seriously, accidents happen. You get somebody spills a drink on your shoes, and like your socks are soaking wet, and you get blisters. It can seriously ruin your day. Extra socks and underwear. One thing that I tried to figure out before I went the last time is I brought this like little mini like hiking chair thing. Like, it was the kind that you like open up and you kind of have to assemble a little bit. But even those chairs are not okay at Celebration. You can't wait in line in those type of chairs because they have too big of a footprint. They take up too much space. So like if you open a chair, any sort of portable chair, you can usually bring portable chairs in, but you can't sit in them on the times that you want to sit. You can't sit in them in lines. You can't sit in them when you're standing like at a panel waiting for it to start and there's like just a bunch of people standing around. You can't sit in those types of chairs. But what you can sit in, what nobody will yell at you about, are those like little tiny portable stools. Like, have you ever seen those? Like, there's like they're like backpacking stools where you throw like just a single strap over your shoulder, and it's really small and it's just a tiny little stool. I actually did like a goofy experiment this year, and I bought like a bunch of different ones. You guys remember me posting in Slack about that?
Oh my gosh, yes.
Exactly like these. I bought like all the different types of stools. Like, I bought the little tripod kinds. I bought the little expansion kinds, and that stupid one that's in the top left. Yeah. This is what I finally decided on. Actually, it folds up into like a little. It's like a little purse-sized item. It could fit in a backpack, but also comes with a strap. This is what I ended up deciding to get. It's like a collapsible stool is what it is. And nobody will yell at you for sitting on this in line, because you don't take up much more space sitting on this than you would if you were standing, as opposed to a huge foldable chair. So seriously, as crazy as it sounds, there's a lot of waiting in lines at Celebration, and like a stupid little chair like this is absolutely worth carrying around. And Wes, Eric, I would seriously consider getting you one of these. Like, I know we're going to have our booth and stuff at Celebration, would kind of be a nice place to sit anyway, but still, this makes a big difference.
Right.
Next thing was a poster tube. We've kind of talked about that already. I didn't know that was a thing the first time I went to Celebration. But you see people walking around with these. Well, they sell really overpriced, crappy poster tubes at Celebration. Yep. Like, people are selling them for like $40. It's ridiculous.
It's like selling ponchos at football games. It's like,
dumb,
you need it now.
Yeah. It's like plexiglass. It's dumb. But they make seriously nice portable poster tubes. They sell them on Amazon. They're super nice. So if you know you're going to be getting a bunch of posters, like, might want to bring one of those ahead of time. I actually brought several posters back home from Celebration, and I never did anything with them. So I think, me personally, I'm actually not gonna bring anything home with me as far as like posters and stuff goes this year. And also, I don't really want to carry a poster tube personally. Other small stuff, make sure you bring a water bottle, even if it's an empty water bottle. Like, you don't have to carry a full water bottle around all day. Convention centers, they all have those nice water fountains these days. They have like the water bottle fill station at them. So even if you just bring an empty water bottle, so you're not carrying around all day, that's really good.
And stay hydrated, y'all.
Yes, definitely stay hydrated.
That's a good idea.
There'll be a lot of soda. There'll be a lot of drinks. Like,
empty water bottle.
I never thought about just bringing in a water bottle, because it definitely would mean it's like what Woodstock 99 when they charge you $6 a bottle for every bottle of water, right?
Yeah. It's pretty.
sure-
I mean, yes. And we're gonna talk about food and drink a little bit later, but yeah, even it's just an empty water bottle. That's seriously incredible to have. And I guess the last thing I will say is nerd conventions stank is a big problem, guys. Imagine that you put a bunch of nerds in a big room together. And it's stinky. I gotta say, man, bring some extra deodorant. Bring some for you. Bring some for your friends. Bring some for strangers. You know, you never know. Bring 5 tubes of deodorant. Seriously.
Start
Did you
applying
drop
it to
this?
people you don't know.
Yeah.
That's right.
I will also
That's
say
right.
on that note, which is specific for this convention, that we hopefully won't have to stay for too much longer. You should probably bring some extra masks in your bag because there is a mask requirement at
Yeah, good point.
Celebration. If that snaps, the last thing I'm sure they'll have something. But if you want like a good like N95, a KN95, like whatever you got, throw a couple in your bag. Also be a good Samaritan. If you see someone that's like, hey, you need some, or just have that in case that snaps, because that's the last thing you want to take time out of your day is finding another one, figuring it out, put some extra masks in your bag.
And then my last point I wanted to make here in this kind of lightning round thing is I actually put this later, but now is a better time to talk about it. You should seriously consider packing your lunch, like the day of. They do usually have food on the floor, but it's overpriced. It's not very good. And it's like long lines during lunchtime. It's just kind of a crappy experience. What Caitlin and I did is we actually stayed at an Airbnb and we like DoorDashed like a Subway sandwich, like 2 days of those, like the first day or something like that. And then did it again, like later on, just put them in the fridge. Right. And then we just brought the sandwich with us and like stuff. That was nice. And you can have food. You can bring it with you. Snacks and sandwiches. Seriously, good idea. And, yeah, that's all I got from my experience from going to Celebration. A couple of things I wish I had. The chair thing was the biggest thing because, like, there's no seating ever. I mean, there's like 50,000 people that went go to Celebration or something like that. It's insane, and like, there's never a place to sit. And man, you're like real tired after like 1 p.m. of standing. You're like, man, I just need a place to sit. You know.
Well, if you're not sitting, or if you are sitting, I guess it might mean you're also watching something like a panel. Which is now what we're going to talk about. So let's talk about what you're going to do. There is so much to do at Star Wars Celebration, and it can be very easy to get overwhelmed by choice. It's like, open up Netflix. What am I going to watch? And then you sit for 3 hours. You don't watch anything. You feel bad that you didn't watch the thing you wanted to do, and you get stressed. Star Wars Celebration, let's start off by saying you will not be able to do everything that's offered. Period.
Yes.
Which is okay.
Actually, you know what? It may even be a good place to say you might get to do anything that's offered, quite frankly. I didn't. You guys remember me telling you about that?
You didn't get into
Celebration Chicago, there were 5 different panels. I didn't get into a single one because they do this, like, I'm assuming they're going to do this again. They do this kind of like lottery system, and you get to choose which lotteries you want to enter, and you have an equal chance of getting into all of them. There's no magic thing. They don't weight it at all. It's like, it's completely random for all of the panels. So that randomness, you might not get anything.
Yeah, so let's go into that system for panels specifically. If you've never been to a convention before, panels are basically what they sound like. You're going to go into a room. It can be either a giant stage where they had people like, the Rise of Skywalker cast came out and they answered questions, or it can be something like the Utini panel where it's going to be us presenting some information, and there's differences to these. Now, as Corey said, the major ones, like ones they've already started announcing, like the Mandalorian panel, the Disney Plus panel, those will likely have lotteries which you'll be able to access via the Star Wars Celebration app if it's like last year. We'll confirm that in our show before you go. But main things, keep your eye on the app. Make sure you get your entries in for the ones that you want to go to. And I would say, have backup plans. So if you don't have a lottery in, you might not find out till right before the panel starts, and you don't want to be sitting around for an hour being like, I thought I was going to do that. Check and just see, hey, if we don't get into this, we'll go to this. If we don't get into this, we'll go to this. Or if we don't get into this, maybe we'll just walk the con floor for a while. It's okay. And a lot of these panels are live streamed on screens around the areas. You can go to the Star Wars show stage if they have that this year. They usually have something going on. So I would ultimately just say, for panels, yes, you want to go to all the big ones. Obviously, we all want to watch the Andor trailer together, which might happen. Come on. But, come on. We're going to be realistic. But at the very least, make sure you always have a backup where you want to go. Yeah, don't let it, like,
Don't let it ruin your show. I mean, because, like, we were pretty disappointed because you find out ahead of time. I mean, we knew, like, the like 2 or 3 days before Celebration started, which lotteries we had gotten into, and when we didn't get into anything, I was pretty bummed about that. But like, it didn't ruin my experience at all. I mean, you guys have heard me talk about Celebration over and over again on the show, and like, it was an amazing trip, even without getting into the major panels. And like Eric said, they do stream like two like major, like there's TVs everywhere, and there is like usually a big like projector screen somewhere that you can all go stand in front of. And like, I watched the the Rise of Skywalker trailer on one of those big screens, and like, you guys have seen the footage. It was insane.
Oh yeah, the footage, people still freak out. Like
the footage that people use mostly from like people's reactions, because the lighting is so good, so the cameras were out there. And I watched it. It didn't take away from it at all. Literally, one of the most incredible moments of my life was watching that. And I wasn't in the major stage, right? So I did get to sort of walk into the Clone Wars stage. They do allow you to queue up in like a kind of a wait list type of situation. And maybe if you were willing to wait for an hour or something like that, you might still get into the panel, even if you didn't get in the lottery. That's certainly possible, because they don't fill up, and then people decide they don't want to go, and then people won the lottery and then didn't go to Star Wars Celebration. So, there are empty seats that they do have to fill. So, don't let it ruin your show. You might still get into some of the major stuff, and there's other ways to enjoy that big information, even if you're not in the major stage.
Absolutely. And now, aside from panels, obviously, presenting stuff, there are things you can do, as Wes said earlier, like buying autographs and photo ops. These all usually need to be bought beforehand. These are the people like your Ashley Ecksteins, your Giancarlo Espositos, your Carl Weathers, your larger media guests. Sam Witwer and Matt Lancher are already up, things like that. And there's links that Star Wars Celebration is always putting out where you can go buy those through a third-party site. Wes, I want to ask you, just so people can, if they're thinking about it, what was the thing that put you over the line of being like, I'm going to buy this? Because photos are a certain thing, autographs are a certain thing, and sometimes you can just kind of walk around. But what for you personally was like, I'm going to buy this autograph from Carl Weathers?
Well, twofold. I started a sports autograph like collecting phase years ago. So I have jerseys signed, I have helmets signed, baseball bats, balls, all that stuff. And my big thing is I like to be there in person when the athlete or movie celebrity will sign it right in front of me. I don't like sending it off and having somebody sign it and then send it back to me, or buying something that has the autograph. So, but my big thing is Carl Weathers, and he has nothing. It's nothing to do with Star Wars. A little bit to do with Star Wars, but it's a lot to do with the Rocky movies. So that's one of the big things. I missed him when he was in Houston. He was signing out. His autographs sold out super quick. It might be the same way. So once I saw them go on sale, I had to get the autograph. But those main type of celebrities, their autographs sell pretty quick. So you got to jump on them whenever they're available. Carl Weathers is one that I've been trying to get. If I can find Stallone walking around, and Sly's walking around in LA on Tuesday or Wednesday, then I'm gonna see if I can track him down.
Well, and I will say, for folks who are thinking about buying these, they do vary in price. An autograph, you're going to go up to the table, you're presenting a thing to get signed. It's way more likely that you're going to have a conversation, or at least a couple sentences. For sure. I got the Hayden Christensen photo at C2E2. It was a great experience. I was so excited about it, but it was pretty quick. I went into they had them like cornered off because they don't want people sneaking in pictures. They didn't pay for them. You go in, give a little like, hi, hello, smile for the picture, and leave. So if you want a more personal thing, probably an autograph. That being said, you may not be allowed to take pictures at those. Sometimes they're pretty strict about those.
So every autograph that I've ever gotten, you will hand your piece off to basically like one of their assistants, and they will put it in front of them. So you have about 10 seconds when that happens and they start signing. You can ask them questions while they're signing it, but you only get maybe one, maybe two questions off. And I always take a picture of them signing the piece. So I do that because if I ever wanted to resell like my sports memorabilia stuff, then that's a good piece to add to the price whenever you're selling it. But they will allow you to take a picture. Some of them, I don't know about Star Wars Celebration, but every autograph thing that I've ever been to for sports stars, they will allow you to take a picture of them as they sign your piece of what you're signing. So if they look up and smile, then that's double, So there's they will allow small things like that. You can't. Sometimes they'll allow selfies too. If you can get in a quick one, sometimes they'll allow that. I'm not sure if they do that just because
follow
of
the
social
rules.
distancing.
It'll be posted on the signs and
Everything
stuff.
will be posted for like the rules and stuff that you need to be following. So
read the room and
don't
read the
be
etiquette.
Yeah, don't be a dick. I mean, that's the rule.
Please don't
be
run out there and hug
weird
them.
and don't be rude. Don't put your hands on them. Don't ask for a hug or a kiss unless they offer that sort of thing. Keep it chill, right? I mean,
well, and I think this is a great. Talk about walking the show floor itself.
right in the mouth.
Here's the thing about this celebration. Hilariously, that this is all kind of prevalent because we have merchandise. I want to talk about that in a second because I actually want to talk about etiquette on the whole. Because for this celebration, currently, obviously, don't be a dick regardless. But because of COVID restrictions, physical space is actually a very real thing. These are people that are going to be interacting with a lot of folks. And there are currently rules about no hugging, no handshakes, and not being cute about it. I feel like if you want to keep any kind of decorum, they're going to have to do something about it. So let's go over just etiquette on the show floor. As you're walking around, let's say either a couple things. You see a cosplayer. What's the etiquette, guys? What's the number one rule about seeing cosplayers? Just off the top of your head.
Ask them if it's okay for a picture.
Yeah, absolutely. Consent, 100%.
Consent. Cosplay is not consent. Is a huge thing. Ask them if they can take a picture. If they say yes, great, take your picture. If they want to chat, that's awesome. If you're a cosplayer, you have the right to say no. Everyone's there to have a good time. Same thing with celebrities on the show floor. Like Corey, you went up to Tim Zahn, and he was very open, very welcoming. Other celebrities may just want a freaking break for 5 minutes.
Yeah, I did see. I remember seeing Ahmed Best and what's the girl who played Infus Nest in? I can't remember what her name is. Yes. Okay. Yeah, they were walking together, literally just around the floor, and I think they were both just kind of low key enough that, a lot of people didn't really recognize them. I could see that some people obviously recognized them, but a lot of people didn't recognize them because they're in plain clothes and they look stylish. Yeah. There's always that little hesitation inside of you. It's like, I think that's who I think it is, but I don't want to be the guy that gets it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You might see them walking around, and they had some people. I could tell they were walking behind them. It was kind of like their, I don't know, assistants or whatever they were.
Yeah.
And they were and I think they were specifically walking over to there was a shoe. Who's that Star Wars brand that brand that's done the shoe deals or whatever? You know what I'm talking about? They did the Ray boots a couple of years ago.
Oh, I had those. Pozu.
Yeah. Pozu was on they were one of the things, and they needed those guys to come over, Ahmed Best and to I don't know, sign some stuff, or they were giving them some things, but it was obviously a professional thing that was happening, and don't walk up to them and be like, hey, let me get your picture. They're charging for that at other times. You know what I mean? So just don't be rude. Don't cause a scene. Don't fanboy over people. Have you ever seen that? Have you ever seen that really funny interview with Heath Ledger? It was staged, and they said it later on where they're walking around. He's doing an interview, talking to the camera or whatever, and that person just screams bloody murder behind him. They freak out, and then he kisses her on the mouth. Have you seen that?
Oh, yeah,
it's hilarious. It's really
fun.
funny. It was staged. It wasn't real, but it was don't be like that. Don't be like that. Don't scare the shit out of anybody when they're doing something professional. All right, just be chill. All right,
If you see them eating, leave them alone. Don't go ask them for.
Oh God, that's not even a question.
Yeah,
if you see them in the bathroom, it's not the right time.
Yeah, don't shake their hand when they're in the bathroom.
No,
just look through the crack in the stall. Be like, hey,
hey,
are you who I think you are?
Turn your head up over the stall. Hey,
I swear this won't be an entire show about saying don't do things, dumb children. But this is a very important part of the show.
Dude, Star Wars fans, they can be this way, unfortunately.
This also applies to con workers, though, because I think that a lot of times these folks are running a convention with pandemic rules, with a lot of folks that are at their first con in 3 years. They're going to be overworked. Some stuff isn't going to work right. Technology might not happen. Lines may break down. Treat the con workers with a ton of respect. A lot of them, if they're making minimum wage, awesome. Most of them are volunteers. Be kind, be courteous. They're going to help you out as best they can. Everyone on the con floor deserves your respect.
They also don't know anything about anything. All right, just to be clear. Reed Pop is notoriously not a great company. They're going to build all this stuff that's going to look really great on paper in the Star Wars Celebration app, and it's going to tell you where to go, and you set all these alarms, you can scan QR codes to make things happen. All that shit's going to break. None of it's going to work. And people are going to be mad because their line queue system is not going to work. And a bunch of college kids that are in red t-shirts that say Reed Pop on them are going to be trying to control all these insane people. And it's going to go to hell. All right. So just expect that to happen. And like, don't be a jerk. All right. Nobody has any control over any of this happening. It's mob mentality. It's enormous crowds. Like nobody knows how to deal with any of that. So like, just if you go into the experience expecting it to be chaos, you will be less likely to be disappointed when, something doesn't go the way it's supposed to go and a bunch of people cut in line and you don't get your spot at a panel you wanted to go to. All right. That's going to happen. And
it's okay.
Don't yell at a minimum wage worker because you don't get your way.
Yeah.
Right.
And last couple things here. One, I want you to remember the con doesn't end when the hours are over, right? When the floor is closed and you're out of the convention center, Star Wars Celebration does kind of take over the whole area for the week. So look around and see which one of your favorites are throwing after hour events. Obviously, the Utini Celebration is on Saturday night.
Obviously.
Disneyland, obviously, we all know that. You've been around. Disneyland After Dark is an event that's happening on Friday night, and a lot of your favorite Star Wars creators or folks you meet in the convention center are probably doing things after the show ends. Feel free to ask around. Feel free to kind of see what parties are happening. If you need rest, oh my gosh, take your rest. Take those hours to sleep and recharge. But Twitter is going to be your best friend with all this happening. All the people that you enjoy on Star Wars Twitter, if there are a bunch of them, will be probably saying where they're going to be going, what events are going to be happening. Just stay in the know if that's something you want to do. But lastly, if you're on the ground in Anaheim, we have a couple other main tips. Let's summarize our last little bit here because then Charles is going to take us away to kind of lead his people of folks that are going to have to be streaming it again this year, who honestly have just as much stuff to do in some respects. So final tips here, folks, to recap. 1, you can pack your lunch. Make sure you have food. Make sure you have water. Make sure you have a water bottle. 2, you can't go to everything. That's fine. Plan out your day as best you can. But be flexible. You're at Star Wars Celebration. This is the best time of the year. That's okay if you don't get into the panel you want. Prepare to be disappointed by lotteries, rules, any systems. Things might change as the days go on. Regulations might change. Go with it. 4, we haven't really talked about this as much. Internet is going to suck in there. You can probably get some tweets off. You can probably maybe load some QR codes. Don't plan on that Wi-Fi or the limited cell phone data available to be streaming videos, to be streaming content yourself if you're a content creator. Know that you can take videos, edit it later. Absolutely do it, not on that Wi-Fi. Get your rest. Take care of your physical body. Take care of your mental body. And as we always say at Utini, we love Star Wars. You should love Star Wars. Put your Star Wars kind hat on. Right? This is not a place for us to be like, oh man, were you at that panel yesterday? Oh yeah, kind of rough, right? Like, obviously we'll like stuff more than other stuff, but this is 4 days of joy away from our lives to get all of the exciting things. And you never know if the one thing that didn't click with you about a panel or about an announcement or about a toy or about a giveaway that you're talking to someone, they may have loved it. And then their memory of that con might be, ooh, this person told me that it sucked. Should I have enjoyed that? Maybe I shouldn't have enjoyed everything. You just don't want to be a sour note in the literal celebration. It's named pretty perfectly. Now, Charles, we're not all lucky enough to go. I'm still really angry at the world and life for missing you. But there was a lot of stuff to do if you're not on the floor. Isn't that right?
That's right. So, listen, if you're listening to this show, there's a reasonable chance that you're not one of the lucky few to get to go to Celebration. That doesn't mean you can't get some of the experience, right? Celebration is not this secret event and no news gets leaked out and no one's wanting to share what happens there. It is the exact opposite. It's information overload, even if you're not there on the floor. And in some ways, I might argue, don't tell these jokers that are actually going to be there. We have it a little bit easier to, absorb all the information that's coming out of Celebration because we can get it streamlined. So kind of the major way in the past that you've been able to follow along in good detail is an actual live stream that they do. It's on the Star Wars YouTube main page, but they'll tweet out links to it and all this stuff. And every day there's a live stream. Typically, it will cover some of the panels. They'll have some hosts who run sort of one of the small side stages and recap some things. They'll have guests, they'll have interviews. You can watch all of that from the comfort of your own home. It used to be run, at least in 2019, by the Star Wars show folks, which now we know is on a hiatus, but they did say it would come back for big events. So I'm kind of still expecting that. I don't know if they've announced that, but I'm expecting it to essentially be the Star Wars show for Celebration. I will caution you though, you can't see everything live. So like, for instance, they may take you live into a panel, one of the big panels, and, oh, we're going to show you this trailer now. A lot of times it goes black and then it comes back and they're like, wow, how great was that? Let's run it again. And it goes black again. And you're like, one thing, they're just trying to drive traffic they want you searching for it. They want you finding the official video that they post rather than the stream. And it'll be up in a matter of minutes. So just don't like your internet didn't break. Don't go restart your router and all that stuff. That happens. So they want the people that are there in the panels at the convention to kind of have, the incentive of getting that moment there first. So that's okay. Don't freak out. It is also available afterwards. So, a lot of us may not be able to watch the stream all day, every day. And I'm talking, this stream is hours long. So you can always go back at the end of the day. It's there. It's saved for posterity's sake. And you can go find the big moments that everyone's talking about. You can just scrub through it, kind of get your information that way. Maybe that's not for you. Maybe you're like, man, I just really don't have that time. I just need to know when something big happens. Well, luckily, a ton of fans at this event, and a ton of those fans have this little thing called social media, and they will live tweet panels when they're in there. They will send out, announcements, little cool moments, little snippets. It's a pretty foolproof way, I think, to get up to the minute updates, especially from the people who are at the panels.
Yeah. And I know real quick, one of the reasons that some folks like Corey and myself, for example, got media badges for Celebration is for this literal purpose, is that they are actually giving folks passes to be doing this. So find your favorite creators, and hopefully folks will be telling you what panels they'll be going to. Obviously, we'll be live tweeting stuff from the @UTN_US Twitter account. A lot of stuff we can. I know some of us will be on our personal accounts. Like, follow the people that are going to be there. A lot of folks are putting SWCA in their Twitter handles right now, so kind of figure that out. And I know like Laura Kelly from Force Toast did a lot of the Del Rey panel stuff when she was at Celebration a couple years back. That's how I found out about a lot of stuff. People will be live tweeting, and as the panels go on, a lot of the panels schedules go online. Pick a panel you want to see online, find the person on Twitter, follow along with the live stream, and a lot of times they're doing pictures and stuff. It's basically like you're in the room.
Yeah. So Laura's actually someone who I followed in the past to get up to the moment kind of updates like that, like you're talking about. So she did a great job. I'm sure the Damons are going to be there. I'm sure Star Wars Explained will be tweeting stuff out. You guys are all going to be on the floor. There's no lack of resources, that's for sure. And then another thing to keep in mind, maybe you're not on social media. Maybe you're like, Charles, listen, that is a toxic hive of scum and villainy. I refuse. That's okay. That's understandable. I'm kind of with you. There are also recaps. So a lot of the big Star Wars news sites are going to post, things throughout the day, like, oh, did you see this thing that came out, et cetera, et cetera. I will say for Utini as a whole, what we're going to try to be doing is like posting an end of the day recap, kind of a big picture. Hey, Celebration Day 1, what have we learned? Celebration Day 2, what have we learned? And maybe that's a little bit more digestible for you. And of course, you can break things down in detail depending on what kind of catches your interest the most. So those are kind of the big things. Again, the live stream, if you want every last little bit of media you can get, live tweets and following things on social media, I think is a nice middle ground. And then if you just need like bare minimum, tell me what I'm missing out on, look for those recaps. Specifically, if you like utini.com, we're going to have those for you.
Yeah. And don't be afraid. I would say if you want to have a little more of that Celebration vibe, a lot of times the Star Wars Celebration store goes live on the Celebration website. And if you want some of the merch from there, even if you didn't get to go, you can order some of that stuff. Also, if you have friends that are going, don't be afraid to say, hey, there's this exclusive book cover I want. Like, for instance, I didn't go to Celebration 2019, but I got the Master and Apprentice book cover because I had someone on the ground. I'm like, hey, can you go get this for me? Like, you can still be a part of the thing. Reach out, absolutely connect with the community. I think the great thing about all of this is that all of us that are going, all of us that are streaming, we are simultaneously all going to be crying and freaking out about everything that Star Wars is going to be announcing over 4 days. Like, it's still wild that it's happening. And I think hopefully all of this prep, whether you're at home, whether you're flying in, whether you're driving in, whether you're coming to a party or whether you're walking a floor for 4 days, you will feel like there's a little less to worry about. So I guess at this point, guys, what is, if you had to say, TLDR, this podcast, what is the main thing that you would like people to remember about when preparing for Star Wars Celebration?
When you walk in and you see that giant booth of mystery boxes, don't go after it. Don't do it. I've been in your shoes. I've been in your shoes, and you're like, you know what?
It's so true.
You know what? There's probably something super cool in there. We're gonna pool all our money together and get the $500 box, and you get $490 worth of crap, and you get one cool thing. So steer clear of the mystery boxes. That's a thing.
We are never going to hear the end of this from you guys. Nope. Never, ever. It wasn't even
That's
Celebration
the only
either.
Cool
it was
thing.
like
the shore trooper bust. That's the only cool thing I got.
That was a rough day, Wes. I'm sorry for your butt.
Oh man, that's so funny. I heard you tell that story. That immediately came to mind too.
Because they're gonna be there. There's gonna be more than one too. So, anyways,
yeah,
mystery boxes.
Yeah. Also, for merchandise, on that note, we didn't say this. Some stuff is gonna be there every single day. If there's something you can't live without, and you're gonna be like, I will cry if I don't buy this that I see on the floor, buy it that day. If you're like, maybe I can wait about it, maybe buy it later in the day, another day, because you're gonna have to carry whatever you grab. Keep that in mind.
Yeah, I think on that note, that is kind of like my one piece of advice, and this is like strictly my personal opinion, right? This is not like I'm not crapping on your lifestyle. If this is you, like don't think that. I am personally of the opinion that even these crazy exclusive stuff that you can get at Celebration, you can still live without. And do not ride the success of the entire trip on getting like one or two really cool exclusive items. Like you know, it's okay to be disappointed if you didn't get stuff that you wanted, right? I mean, the Celebration
you can say
store.
Funkos, Corey. I'm right here.
No, I'm not talking about Funkos. No, you don't understand. You don't understand how many Celebration exclusives there are. It's insane.
It's wild.
Like everywhere you look, there's stuff you can buy, right? Like it would be really easy to like feel like you have to have all of it. And the pin collecting gets a little crazy. Like it's just nuts, right? There's a lot of different. That's a huge subculture in Star Wars fans, right? Is like Star Wars collecting, right? So it's very easy to get sucked into that. I feel like I have to have all the shirts. I have to get all the things. I have to wait in line for 3 to 4 hours just to get into the Celebration store to get the opportunity to buy the things, because that's how it worked. There was a queue system last time, and you had to and it would say you can come to the store at 2:00. You got to get there at 12:30. It's like
the most capitalist thing ever. I'm gonna win the opportunity to buy a thing.
No, you're gonna win the opportunity to stand in line for 2 hours
to try to buy
the
a thing. You're right.
Yes,
you're right.
it's insane. It's insane, and the line is enormous, and it's never small. Like it's insane. Me and Caitlin did like one of the last days. We happened to see that there were like maybe less than 50 people in line. We're like, oh, what the hell? Let's go get in it. We get the queue real fast and did it, and like it still took forever for us to get through it, and there wasn't a lot of stuff by the end of the time and stuff. Like my advice to you: don't feel like you have to spend $1,000 on stuff. You can definitely live without the stuff. You can, if you have to have it that bad, you can get it off of eBay for a marked up price, like after the show is over, and spend a small fortune on it. Wes is like, hell no. But still,
oh my goodness.
Just don't commercialism of Star Wars.
Yeah.
Like
Prioritize
become
the experience,
Celebration.
not the stuff.
You're going to be around a bunch of people that enjoy the same thing that you do, that you've never met before in your entire life, and you're all going to have fun of just like expressing your true self, and it's going to be fun to have to see people that do the same thing.
And there are a lot of people at home, I'm pointing at myself for the audio listeners, who would love just to be there, not to buy a dang thing, but just to be there.
Yeah.
So definitely remember you're lucky to be one of those folks.
You're not getting the point I'm trying to make is you're not getting a less experience because of the circumstances that you're in, right? Like even if you're in a place where you can't afford, you've budgeted to go to Star Wars Celebration. That's all you budgeted for, right? Like you're not getting less of experience because you don't have $500 or $1,000 to spend on plastic, right? You're not getting less of experience. Like the experience itself is the thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
Charles, what do you got?
I think, listen, I'm not trying to make like a political or like medical statement here, but it's a weird celebration. Because of everything that's happened for the past couple of years. And I just want to encourage people again, I know we said this earlier, it's just do your best to abide by like the rules and regulations there, wearing your mask, wash your hands frequently, do all those things. There's some people who maybe this is the first major thing they've done outside of a bubble of isolation for 2+ years. And they're going to be super anxious about that. There are some people there who might be immunocompromised and it's a little bit riskier for them to be at an event like this and they're double masked and this and that. Respect that, right? Because anyone can be a Star Wars fan. Everyone can be a Star Wars fan. So just being mindful, maybe it doesn't align with all your own personal thoughts or opinions or all this stuff, but just try to be mindful of the people that are around you because there sure are a heck of a lot of them. And it doesn't take much to ruin someone's experience who is just as excited to be there as you are. So just try to keep that in mind, be respectful of everyone around you. And yeah, that's kind of all I have to say about that.
I love that. Keep it respectful. Like you said, Charles, it doesn't take much to ruin someone's time. It also doesn't take much to let them have a great one. It doesn't take much effort, honestly. Like have your own time. And I think I'm going to combine a lot of these folks to be like, never take for granted whether you're streaming it or whether you're there, that this is Star Wars Celebration. I think we lost this for years. We were going to have it in 2020, and it was going to be huge, and it was going to be massive, and then we were going to have it in 2021, and now it's back, and it's a time where we're all finally getting to gather together, and I think if I had any main idea, it's not a surprise, but manage your expectations for what you're going to see. Don't have ultimatums, but I'll only be happy if I see blank, kind of like what we were saying with panels. But even beyond that, just earnestly take in each day. Earnestly take in where you are, who you're meeting, what you're experiencing. Just be in the moment as much as you can. And as you're watching stuff, just be like, wow, this is Star Wars, which should have ended 18 times, but keeps coming back. And is big enough now that tens of thousands of folks are going to take their vacation days and fly to California and try to have a great time with each other. So own what it is, have the best time of your life, and already start planning for the next one. That's what I got.
And come say hi.
And come say hi. Yes.
Come say hi. We can say that on the show. Come say hi to us at the Utini fan panel and booth and
party
and
around. Yes.
Yeah, and if you see us, if you see anybody wearing a Utini shirt, even if they're not working for Utini, you don't know that. Go say hello. Say hey.
Say hello.
I know what that is. You guys are cool.
Yeah. I'll try to have the white glasses on too, so even if I'm masked up, you'll be able to see me. Come say hi. Enjoy it. It's gonna be a blast.
Yes.
Gosh.
And Eric,
keep talking about it.
Eric and Corey might be on those tattoo tables that they're going to have on the convention floor.
That is not going to happen.
That might happen. All right. But with that, everyone, that is going to do it for this week's episode of The Living Force. Can't wait to see y'all at Celebration. It's only a month away. If you support us on Patreon, thank you so much. We hope you're enjoying that Revenge of the Sith commentary we released this weekend. A special thank you to OK Endar, Brian Julie, Patrick Ortiz, Earl Q, and Carl Sander on our Jedi High Council, and Matt Billington, Elizabeth Gutier, Freddie C, and Sally and Chris Eilerson on our Alliance High Command. You can find us on Twitter. I'm at Eric Eilerson, Corey is at Corey M. Helton, Charles is at C. Henkel, Wes is at Boss Wes. A special thank you to Matt Davenport, our amazing editor, Ryan, our graphic designer extraordinaire, and Wes, our producer and community manager. Thank you to Corey, Charles, and Wes for podding with me tonight. Thanks to all of you for tuning in live and for listening later. We'll see some of y'all at Celebration. And as always, may the Force be with you.